Good day to you. My name is Ellen Pensky, and on behalf of Packet Fusion, I want to welcome you to today's Lunch and Learn. It's part of our series of helping you to see clearly in 2020. We originally developed this series because we know that today's technology landscape is dynamic and complex, and it can be challenging, especially now, and challenging in sorting through the many options you have to find the best fit for your needs. Today's webinar is sponsored by SADA. SADA is a Google Cloud Premier partner with proven expertise. SADA's team of certified experts help organizations modernize by providing innovative cloud solutions to leverage the entire Google Cloud portfolio. Our topic today is an interesting one. It's called the power of Google Cloud. Our expert will explore how Google Cloud solutions can help improve your company's efficiency, reduce costs, participate in new business models, and capture new marketing opportunities. With workplace transformation taking on a whole new dimension today, organizations like yours have a sense of urgency when it comes to finding the right tools for productivity and collaboration. And now I'd like to introduce our speakers. First up is Packet Fusion CEO Matt Pingatore. With 30+ years of experience in the telecom industry, Matt is acknowledged as an industry leader with a wealth of knowledge and experience about getting to the cloud. Today's featured speaker is Erica Baker. Erica serves as a channel sales manager at SADA, where she has worked for the last almost 5 years in a number of marketing and channel positions. Her role is to develop and manage initiatives that grow awareness for Google Cloud solutions. So take it away, Matt.
Thank you, Ellen. I don't know how we're going to talk all about Google Cloud in the 45 minutes that we have. It's impossible. So we're going to get some high-level concepts down for you guys today, but we couldn't be more excited to partner with SADA and Google as Packet Fusion makes our transformation to this cloud consulting role. A lot of the products that we've been traditionally selling in the UCaaS and the CCaaS world are now all in the cloud, but more so on the hyperscalers, on the GCP, which is a Google Cloud platform, or the AWS. And so, being able to partner with these companies and be able to sell them in our portfolio and provide our customers these kind of values is really cool. You hear about the FANG stocks, the Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. Well, we get to now partner with the G in the FANG, which is really cool. So, today we're going to focus on two parts of Google Cloud. The first one is basically hyperscaler. What does that mean, right? The days of owning servers in your back office, in your own little IT room, those are over. You moved them to the colo, and you had to manage your own services in the colo, and then you had people do managed service, MSP, on the colo, but you still owned hardware. Now, the hyperscalers, the Google Cloud Platform, just have infinite compute in the cloud, and you just consume it like you consume water, like you consume electricity. You plug in, and you just basically bandwidth and storage and compute on demand. So it's an amazing concept, and I'm a big fan of what they're doing. The other half is email. No one owns Outlook or Exchange servers, right? People had them in their server room, then they put them in the colo, and now everybody's either doing 365 or G Suite. So SaaS, software as a service, is here. No one's buying applications and run them on your own server. Everything is SaaS nowadays. I'm excited about this transformation because we as Packet Fusion are taking our customer. We've got about 100 people plus on the line today. I see about half of these are my existing customer base. The other half, I've never met you, so welcome. My camera's not working, I apologize. But we're in the process of taking our customers to the cloud, from everything from CCaaS to UCaaS to SD-WAN, and now, most importantly, to Google with SADA. So with that, Erica, I'm going to turn it back to you and let you take over.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt, and thank you, Ellen, and thank you again to everyone on the line today for taking the time to learn more about how you can take advantage of the products within the Google Cloud portfolio, especially with SADA as your premier partner. As mentioned, I'm Erica Baker, Channel Manager here at SADA, and I work closely with Matt and Packet Fusion to assist with their customer needs that pertain to Google Cloud. On the call today, we also have my director, Billy Franz, who will act more as a fly on the wall, but just in case you guys happen to hear a Texas accent pop up out of nowhere, at least you know it's a SADA member.
And if you ever get the chance to hang out with Billy Franz, make sure you get him dancing on the dance floor. It's a sight to be seen.
In for a good laugh. And also I wanted to note that yesterday, while I was doing the dry run with Packet Fusion, I had connection issues. So in order to kind of mitigate that, I will be turning my camera off as I jump into the deck. But just to kind of highlight the key areas we'll be covering today, I wanted to give a background on who SADA is and who we are as a partner within the Google Cloud ecosystem and the value that SADA can bring to you as a premier partner. And then I kind of wanted to focus in on more of the common products we deliver on, which are Google Cloud Platform and G Suite. I'm anticipating that will probably take around 20 to 25 minutes to get through my slides, but then we do plan on opening the floor to Q&A. However, if there was anything that you wanted to get answered offline, please let Matt know and we can get that coordinated. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, so a little bit about SADA. So SADA was founded in 2000, and in 2006 became one of the first global launch partners with Google to launch what is known today as G Suite. Fast forward nearly 15 years later, we've expanded to cover the entire portfolio of Google Cloud products and have migrated over 25 million users to the cloud. Not only are we a premier partner, but one of SADA's most recent achievements is winning the Google Cloud Global Reseller Partner of the Year Award, back-to-back for 2018 and 2019. So that really established who we are as a partner within their partner ecosystem. SADA is 100% to Google Cloud, committed to Google Cloud, actually so much so that we signed a $500 million commitment to them over the next 3 years, which was at that time the largest buy of any MSP, because we really do believe in the future of this Google technology. Focusing in more a little bit on the SADA team, we currently do have over 230 sales and delivery experts across the US and Canada, including our CTO, Miles Ward. And Miles previously worked at Google and founded Google Cloud Solutions Architecture Practice. So you can imagine the type of talent that he's able to recruit in order to help build out some of the best teams here at SADA. We do cover across a variety of verticals, including media and entertainment, retail, healthcare, ranging from all sizes, mid-market to large enterprises. SADA does have professional services practices that are aligned with Google Cloud's priority solution areas and workloads, and our services span the full spectrum of IT needs, whether that's consulting and migration to change management and support. So now that you are familiar, or at least have a background of who SADA is, I'm sure you're wondering, well, why should we engage with SADA for our business? So Google actually encourages customers to work with a partner in order to have a better experience with the product, and that's ultimately because of the value that SADA provides in support. So sometimes we notice that Google resources may have longer resolution times. There may be offshore resources that customers deal with, which ultimately in turn make you resentful for the products that you're using and paying for. However, when you're working with one of Google's top partners like SADA, we can step in and help alleviate some of those pain points. So one thing I think is the most important to point out is when you work with SADA, it's the same as working with Google Direct. There is no markup, and we're able to handle resell on all Google Cloud products at MSRP. But because of our premier partner status, we can actually leverage discounts for positioning against the competition, whether that be maybe you're locked into, an EA with time remaining, or let's say you're going to be using G Suite or GCP for the next 3 to 5 years to come. We can actually position for multi-year commits to show more cost savings. And to even take it one step further, SADA even has access to partner sales funding, and that is to help maybe a customer move from on-prem or from a data center into GCP. So there's all these options that we can kind of pull out from our back pocket in order to help the customer make that transition to Google.
What if they're existing G Suite Google customer today?
So that's actually no problem at all. One thing that's a great point. If they're already on Google today, we can actually still be a partner with them. We can work through you, Matt, if they have any interest, and we get a call scheduled. And then from there, we can kind of just see what you're currently using on Google Cloud today, and then show where value add is. And we would just need to get you over onto SADA paper, and there is no interruption with your current systems that you're using today.
Great, love it.
Another key benefit that customers gain with SADA is our 24/7 admin support when licensing through SADA. So we will own all ticket escalations tiers 1 through 3 for any issue that customers have. But if there's something that we cannot handle in-house, we do have a direct line to Google Engineering to assist with that ticket issue. One thing I want to note is that your Google support will remain in place even if you sign an agreement with SADA. So that SADA support is really just an additional layer to what Google is providing customers as well. So it's just layers and layers of support to ensure you're successful on the platform. And that also kind of leads into the dedicated technical resources that SADA has, which includes our customer success managers and account managers who work in conjunction with Google to kind of provide, roadmap information, QBRs, annual reviews, things like that with the customer. So this way, they're always prepared for any update features that could, benefit the organization in the future or maybe change the way that they're currently working today. So the Google Cloud portfolio of products consists of G Suite, Google Cloud Platform, Google Maps, and Cloud Search. And while SADA can assist on all of these products, today I want to focus in on the ones that tend to be most impactful for companies with Google Cloud Platform and G Suite. So Matt, if we had any questions yet, I can go ahead and jump right into GCP.
I think you're doing good.
All right, so Google Cloud Platform, also referred to as GCP, is Google's public cloud. And GCP actually has over 200 distinct products, but at the root of these, you're kind of looking at the same 4 basic common areas: security, pricing, reliability, and artificial intelligence machine learning. So when it comes to security, Google is way ahead of the pack. If you as a customer have ever been hit by security problems, Google's security environment is one of the best in the world. And as mentioned, the price performance is something that's not to be taken lightly. I think the best way I can kind of compare it is similar to bulk discount when you buy at Costco. Google's actually buying up, I think, almost 1/5 of the computers on the planet. So they're actually getting a better deal than your average Joe. So, you have the ability to use that super high performance custom infrastructure that was specifically designed at Google for your own current applications to come, any software that runs at your business, and that would really just be a huge step forward. And reliability. None of this stuff actually matters if it goes offline. So Google has to be notorious for their reliability. So I just want to take a step back and I want you to think, have you ever had search go offline? Has your Gmail ever stopped working? Or have you ever really not seen an ad inside of a placed application? Probably not, and it's because those systems don't go down because they're built by Google's globally distributed, super sophisticated infrastructure. And I'm sure what's probably most valuable and maybe more important to most of you is being able to use artificial intelligence, to maybe project, to categorize, automatically interact with, your real world day-to-day solutions. And Google is so far ahead on this, it's kind of an unfair comparison. But if you are interested in automating what you do, being able to communicate, we do have examples coming up. The platform that Google has built solves for a lot of the main pain points in the big business infrastructure. So some common questions we often find customers find themselves asking are, how do I build enough compute systems and worrying about the networking to connect them? How do I organize and orchestrate even an infrastructure that's possibly deployed around the world? Is there an easier way to keep my storage costs under control? How to get value out of my data? Making sure the data from all my different apps and my users that my users are consuming are integrated and coordinated. So SADA has a whole series of tools for development to ensure that your software developers are moving quickly, that they can meet the needs of your users, of all the rich management systems to ensure that, your operators and users alike, are having their needs solved and not necessarily creating these new problems. So Google Cloud Platform has 3 core competencies that are focused on infrastructure moves, or what we refer to as lift and shift, big data and analytics projects, machine learning, as well as application development advisory. So in interacting with teams to modernize their infrastructure, we're plugging into their teams by reducing total cost, by accelerating performance, possibly helping them deploy into regions that they didn't have access to before. SADA also works heavily in application development to make it so that new tools, new demands of the market can be met on the GCP platform. And all of the value that's available in data, the new gold, new currency, what would you be able to do if you could organize and make use of that data for your business? So SADA's practice is actually designed in order to have very specific deliverable production capabilities across each one of these areas. But of course, there's way more kind of categories that go within, that fall within each. So for an example, if you're running in VMware today, Azure, or AWS, GCP costs less and goes faster. It's been proven over and over multiple times. So I think migrating virtual machines from other environments to Google Cloud is really just an overall big win as far as those 4 areas I mentioned: price, performance, security, reliability, availability.
And I love you're going to talk about the multi-hybrid cloud thing. I mean, isn't one of the biggest pushes right now is to get people in this multi-cloud and AWS and GCP and letting everybody work together?
Yeah, I actually have that coming up in one of my slides. So let me get
sorry.
to it before. So before I lose my train of thought, but yes. So before I get to that example, Matt, the example that I wanted to give in this case was when SADA worked with the team at Betfair and TVG Network. For those of you who are not familiar, Betfair is an international betting firm, and they needed help with building out a betting application. And obviously, when it comes to bets, there's lots of money that's riding on the line. So it was absolutely unacceptable that it would, go down during prime race times. So once again, that theme of reliability was critical, but at the same time, the Betfair team also looked at how much it would cost for them to operate that infrastructure. So they decided to move forward with Google Cloud and have SADA as their reseller. Our team was able to look through their infrastructure and actually propose best practice for re-engineering certain parts of their application. So this ultimately, this project actually converted into over $500,000 in annual savings for their team, because we were able to refactor some of their applications from, big monolithic services where everything had to be agreed on by each machine to microservices where, teams could work independently. It freed up almost 80% of IT time. The team wasn't having to spend weeks and hours in advance testing out different scenarios to kind of anticipate unexpected system issues. And then for application development, your businesses, or your organization may be trying to capture this new capability with containers. So old virtual machines can take a gigabyte or more a piece. However, with new containers, they're more closer in size to like a megabyte a piece. So, we're talking about 1/1000th of the size. So in that case, if you're able to compress more applications into the same infrastructure, you ultimately are paying less. And being able to take advantage of faster development, timeframes, that coordination between developers, it really is just another value prop for being able to take advantage of this new technology. And then last but not least, and data, it speaks for itself. I imagine that some of you may be using some legacy systems for managing your data, and I'm sure it's no surprise that over the last couple of years, it just keeps getting more interesting and software data is just getting better. So if you are on older systems, you're kind of missing out on the magnitude of advancements, but because it's happening so fast, it's actually a multitude of order of magnitude of advancements and capabilities. But that's not to kind of take a stab at you. I really just think it speaks to the advances in machine learning and AI. And just think about how far the tools you may be using have come. I mean, now we can do things like talking to our phone and it can do things for us. So Google really works hard to make sure those type of capabilities you can, can embed into your own applications. One use case here that I did want to point out is for Moxie. So Moxie is a robot company that helps promote social and cognitive learning for children. And in order for Moxie's robots to be interactive, they needed the sense and react loop to was a major factor for them. After Moxie evaluated different tech companies to achieve that goal of creating a robot with the ability to have, a fluent conversation back and forth, while also, maintaining an affordable price point, they selected GCP, and it's what they leverage their entire cloud backend on. Not only are they using that, but they are able to leverage the automatic speech recognition model in order to provide customizable input with predetermined context words that would most likely be used during specific interactions with the robot. And on top of that, while the robot quote unquote sleeps, it actually will process data from that day's interactions in order to create, insights for the parents, which actually was leveraging Google Cloud storage and computing on the back end. So not only was GCP allowing Moxie to overcome their cost price point, but it delivered on the realistic interactions as well. So I did talk to a few of these projects, and I know that they can be complex, but SADA does want to be here to make it simple. So what we have created is, flat rate, predictable price, predictable time frame implementation projects for you. So this way, it's not you, the one on the hook for figuring out, how long the migration may take. It's not you figuring out how much it's going to cost. So if you've ever had any interest about experimenting with the VM migration, SADA has a flat rate package for that. If you have a database that's old school and you want to move into a new system, SADA has a flat rate package for that. So with that kind of wraps up my GCP portion before I kind of move into G Suite next. I'm not sure if we have any questions come in, but I want to stop there and pause before kind of taking
You've got a couple, but I think we can wait to the end. They're more general.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so I'll continue on with G Suite. So as mentioned, SADA has been a partner with Google since they launched G Suite, and it actually is one of our main breads and butter here in helping organizations evaluate that platform. So why are companies choosing to look at G Suite for possibly their new productivity platform? And these are a few reasons are listed on the screen here. First is going to be cost and pricing against the competitors. So anytime an organization makes a technology switch to this kind of size, it's usually to accomplish, a favorable price point entry and maybe have some sort of cost reductions on the new platform. In addition to that, there may be other technologies that you're using, whether it's for mobile device management, data loss prevention controls, file sharing systems. Many of those elements are now built natively within G Suite. So it allows you to not only eliminate those Microsoft costs, but also additionally, a lot of third-party costs as well. So when we're going to look at how G Suite compares to Office 365, I wanted to just briefly go over the SKUs. So G Suite has three SKUs: Basic, Business, and Enterprise, which are going to be comparable to Office 365's E1, E3, and E5. However, there is a huge price discrepancy once you start to work towards the higher tiers. For your Basic, for Google, you're looking at $6 per user per month, where Microsoft's equivalent is going to be $8 per user per month. Next step up, for Google Business, it's $12 per user per month, but Microsoft's E3 is already $20 per user per month. So you see an $8 per user per month difference there. And then at our enterprise tier, Google offers it at $25 per user per month, where Microsoft is $35. So that's already a $10 user difference in just the productivity suite alone. Imagine what you could do if you were able to eliminate features like Dropbox or other messaging features. So it really does lie in cost and pricing advantages.
Hey, Erica, one of the questions came in that's perfect timing is, what can G Suite do for my teams who now are heavily reliant on Excel?
Oh, so that's a good question. So a lot of the common use cases that we see for Excel spreadsheets is for lists or task management. However, G Suite does work seamlessly with Microsoft Office tools, so you don't have to worry about that coexistence there. I also want to point out that these cost savings here, if you do have a specific department that maybe it's about 10 to 15 members, however it may be, and they're the only ones that are using it, does it really make sense to have the entire organization paying for, the more expensive Microsoft license? So it may make sense to transfer the entire organization over to G Suite and keep those 10, 15 legacy users of Excel on the platform. But again, they do coexist, and if you needed to upload a G Suite spreadsheet as a Microsoft sheet or download it vice versa, there's no problems there. So for the mobility and collaboration features, Google G Suite was actually built to be simple, seamless, straightforward, and it was actually born in the cloud. And some of the key differentiators is that it does have a great mobile application functionality. Anything that I am doing on my desktop or on my laptop, I can do from my cell phone, whether it's scheduling meetings, sending out emails. The functionality is literally the same. If you can hardly tell the difference. And again, that goes across device agnostic. It goes for whether you're going to be on an Android, iPhone, your iPad, whatever you may choose. Google makes it seamless so that there is no discrepancy wherever you may be using it at. And last but not least would be the recruiting aspect. So G Suite has been around for, I want to say, about 13 years now, and it actually started within the educational industry, started at university level and then trickled down to K through 12, which is why in turn today, about 75% of the EDU market is using GCP. So why that matters maybe to your company from a larger perspective is that when these students enter into the workforce, they're already going to be highly familiar with the G Suite layout, the flow, functionality. It's going to be easier to adopt, and you don't have as much time to onboard them when they do start at their positions. And not to mention, if there's something that they look for, this top talent may demand that of you. They may turn you down because you're using systems that they see outdated or they don't really prefer. So again, it just helps with acquiring the top talents. So with that, I wanted to give a high level of what's all included in G Suite. So right here are kind of like the 4 pillars of how you can break down the G Suite SKU. Top left is create, top right is connect, bottom left is access, bottom right is control. So our top left highlights Google's productivity products. You're going to have docs, sheets, slides, and forms, which are kind of comparable to your Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. On your top right is Google's collaboration products. So you have your Gmail for inbox, you have your calendaring, you have Google Meet for video conferencing and messaging. On your bottom left is Drive and Cloud Search. So Drive is your document storage. You can keep important projects, agreements, all of your sheet slides that I mentioned from the Connect portion. And all of this is powered by Google's search engine, Cloud Search. So if I were to go into my Drive right now, and let's just say I can't remember what I titled the document, but I remember a specific sentence I typed in the document. If I type that sentence into my Cloud Search, Google's search engine is so powerful that it's going to bring me that document. I'll have no trouble finding it. And it really is just a great search engine. For bottom right, it highlights the security. So Google Admin Center allows permissions, to add users, manage devices, just configure settings so that your data stays safe. But there's also Google Vault for, archiving and/or retention policies. I did mention before that G Suite has 3 SKUs: Basic at $6 per user per month, Business at $12 per user per month, and Enterprise at $25 per user per month. And some of the main differences between the SKUs are going to be, data storage that users have in Drive, the number of participants on a conference call, as well as advanced security features. So by now, I'm sure you guys may be tired of hearing me talk and are kind of eager to order some lunch with those DoorDash gift cards. So I just wanted to quickly highlight some resources that are available to you after this call. SADA has seen great traction with our G Suite and Office 365 ebook, as well as our GCP versus AWS ebook. I can also provide links to the GCP case studies I mentioned for Betfair and TVG, as well as Moxie. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude here so that we can open up the floor to some Q&A. But if we don't get to your question today, please do not hesitate to reach out to Matt so that we can coordinate time for all of us to have a discussion with your team.
Yeah, so some pretty basic questions. I think we can handle these without Billy's technical expertise. But Billy, if you want to chime in, we still want to hear that Texas accent that she alluded to. Do I have to be using G Suite in order to utilize GCP? I know the answer.
All right, Matt, you want to take it away?
Them independently. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, that's correct. So they are not dependent on each other. You can utilize one or the other or both. One thing I did want to point out, though, is if you do happen to look at both of those platforms, we can sometimes bundle them together in order to position, further cost savings for the customer.
All right, here's a good one. I'm going to start the answer, and then I'm going to pass it off to you. Okay, why would I work with SADA over Google Direct? So I would say there would be no reason why you wouldn't. You still get to have your Google contacts and the people that you've been working with. You get another layer of support from SADA, right? I look at what Google does for support, and they try not to talk to you. They try not to interface you. It's all web. You don't form relationships. It's very difficult. With SADA, you're going to have account managers, you're going to have tech support people, you're going to have relationships you're going to build, all along with the Packet Fusion relationship, because we're the ones that have introduced everybody. We have a vested interest in your success. You also have the Packet Fusion team as an overlay along with SADA for your Google Cloud Service, your GCP and your G Suite. And then I know Erica's got more.
I mean, you kind of hit all of the nails on the head there, Matt. Again,
Better pricing.
Yeah, again, the value just really adds in. And the value of our support. So like you mentioned, not only do you still get to keep the Google support that is provided, as well as the account managers that you may be working with or have relationships with, but you get SADA's assistance in there as well. We have promotions, access to, pricing promotions, things like that.
Promotions. I remember we did one deal and we had stuff because it's the channel from Google, we had some funds that we were able to throw at the customer for professional services and training and all this is like $30,000-$40,000 that wasn't even available to the Google Direct rep. And he was like, wait a minute, how's this happening? So there's some cool things that you guys get to do. I mean, I mean, quite frankly, right now, Google's revenue from their channel is it's less than 20% of their revenue or 10% of the revenue. Is that right? It's a small percentage, and their goal is to get that considerably higher where they really, really are embracing the channel. I don't know if you have any actual numbers on those.
Actually, the actual numbers on that, Matt, are close to about 80%. Google is very, very heavily reliant on partners, and that's because of, to your point, the support that we assist with, drive, and then the engagement, right? So you talked about our technical account management. For different accounts and spenders that come over to SADA paper, we actually give them a dedicated resource called the technical account manager, and they assist with helping drive cloud adoption and assisting customers like those of you on the call with ramping and scaling new workloads, advising on your entire technical stack and what you're utilizing within a cloud architecture standpoint. So because of that, Google is very, very heavily SADA focused, which is why we become #1 back-to-back, and going to market together and sharing that responsibility with Packet Fusion on how we can all kind of have a three-headed monster to provide and deliver positive results for everybody across the board. So that speaks volumes to it. And then the other kind of piece that I'd point out is, like we've talked about here, it's everyone is adopting this multi-cloud or hybrid cloud strategy, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We're simply saying at SADA, if you are going to look at a multi or hybrid cloud strategy and you're looking at GCP, you should give us the shot to earn your business with GCP because we specialize in it. It's our sole and only focus. We don't participate with AWS. We sold off our Microsoft practice last year, so we're name brand recognition strictly for Google Cloud. So I want to lay that out there. And then the last piece too, that kind of tying back to the original question here, is why would I work directly with SADA rather than going direct with Google? I'll ask this question to everybody. When was the last time you worked with a large vendor, say a Google or an 8x8, or not 8x8, but a AT&T or an Equinix? These big, massive companies, Dell and HP, right? Think about the problems that you had and the headache that you had the last time your support team loaded a trouble ticket. At SADA, you don't have that problem. We're a shop of about 300 to 350 people, but our average tenure in terms of sales and staffing is about 4 to 5 or 6 years or greater. If you look at our executive leadership team, they've all been at SADA, with the exception of Miles, greater than 2 years. Our SVP of sales has been at SADA for 9+ years. So we have a very, very strong foundation and track record, specifically focused on Google Cloud, and that support structure bleeds into the support of our customers. So imagine just having one throat to choke, a much easier, much faster response. If you need escalation, you not only can go over to Matt, but you can reach out to Erica, who has a direct line to our SVP, or you can reach out to me, who I report to our SVP, and I have a daily conversation with our CEO, Tony, and even CTO and COO. So the scalability on that we offer is second to none.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. Why GCP over AWS? I know you said a couple things, but I would love to hear that.
Yeah, so as far as that goes, right, the bigger piece is you want to look at the use case factors and verticals. A big trend that we're seeing is a lot of customers that are in the retail sector, that they're selling goods or services, and they might be listed on Amazon. So why would you put your infrastructure on Amazon when we know for a fact that Amazon, I don't want to say fishes for information, but watches the data and collects data of what is being sold on their marketplace. And then if something is a top seller or high valued seller, they then...
Come on, they wouldn't do that.
Oh, no, it's true. You can Google search the article, right? And then they create a replica and then outsource the packaging delivery.
Get it. I get it. I get it. And there's also speed and cost and, flexibility. I hear great things about GCP.
All of that. Of course, and it's worth calling out too, and Erica alluded this too, that Google, what's kind of cool about them is their proprietary network. So when you're actually utilizing Google Cloud, you're actually on the Google Cloud network backbone. So you're not going over any additional wires unless you need a cross connect within your network. And then in the same realm, all Google Cloud hardware is proprietary. So Google, Erica mentioned this as well, Google's in the top 5 actually for computer manufacturing, and very few people know that.
Okay, great. So here's one for you, Billy, is do you have any tools to migrate from GCP to AWS and vice versa? We really want the question to say AWS to GCP. So let's start with that one.
Yeah. So we do have the tools. Right now, we are giving total cost of ownership assessments away at no cost. So that's part of the package is why you're working with Packet Fusion while we're doing this together. So register and have your conversation with Matt. And Matt, from your side, just get with Erica, and we can run a StrataZone total cost of ownership or an assessment as to what the environment currently looks like, whether it's on-prem or in Azure or in AWS, and we'll run a cost analysis to show you what it would cost to go into GCP. And then as Erica showed, we have the Ignite flat rate packages that are fixed fee and fixed timetable that we are willing to commit to at a specific price point and saying, this is the timeline, this is the cost, and here's the timeline that we will deliver and get you out of AWS and into GCP.
Did I hear free assessment? Can you walk? Because I remember we did that for an account, and it was like a $30,000 or $40,000 value, and you guys threw it in because of some Google kind of money that you had. I forget how that one worked. Walk me through that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So a TCO analysis, we utilize different tools like StrataZone or Live Optics or Cloud Physics. And what we do is it's an embedded tool that goes into your infrastructure and just runs a quantitative analysis of what VMs you're utilizing, what areas that you're over provisioned, other areas that you're under provisioned. And to your point, it's about a $30,000 to $40,000 assessment that we're giving away again at no cost. And then at the end of, say, a 2-day period or a 2-week period, depending on how long you as a customer would like to be on the platform, we run the analysis, and then we get everybody together, provide you with a breakdown and say, hey, here's what it would cost to move over to GCP. Are you ready to look at that? And then we kick off the project.
Don't you have to sign some paperwork somewhere and some money changes hands first?
There is no money to be had. The paperwork that is signed is fully NDA. It's secure. It's disclosed between the customer and SADA. And then at that point in time, obviously Matthew makes the introduction. We all three get together. We run the analysis. It's really, really simple. There's really not a whole lot to it, but it is a very, very strong exercise to give insights and optics to those of you that are maybe in the financial sector to see what you're overspending on or what you're not properly utilizing. And then from a cost analysis, that's number one. And then the second one is a technical provisioning standpoint. So all that, it's super simple, super easy. We sit down, we get Matt Pingatore on, we get Erica on, we get our in-region field sales rep, and we actually get Google to fund the analysis. And then at that point in time, it's a simple paperwork, sign off, and then we put the tool on top of your console, and then we run it, sit together, and then close it.
Gosh, beautiful. So there's no risk in meeting, no risk in engaging, no risk in talking about strategy, and any kind of meeting we take with SADA and Packet Fusion, value will be added, we promise. So, Ellen, Erica, did you want to say any closing remarks?
No, I just wanted to thank everybody for, again, taking the time today. We could probably give you about 15 minutes back of your time, but I will be sharing those resources with Packet Fusion so you guys could take a look further. Thank you again for the time.
So if any of you want to schedule any of the meetings that we just kind of alluded to, feel free to reach out to me directly, mpingatore@packetfusion.com, and we will schedule accordingly. That's all I had. Anything else, guys?
Nope, that's it. Thank you so much. And if you guys have any questions, please reach out to Matt and we'll happy to get something coordinated.